So much went on by the time I was a lineman till I retired that I was flabbergasted at some of the advancements and all that had been made. And in 1956, I believe, is when Bell Labs, a couple of men at Bell Labs invented the transistor. Wow. And then shortly after that, the integrated circuit. And wow. That's at the divestiture then of the system. If all of that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have those cell phones.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
We wouldn't have live streaming, you know, so.
Folks, we want to welcome you to another edition of There Is More. There is more than just what you see on the outside and maybe what the external descriptions of our lives may be. There really is more from the inside out. Today, I'm really looking forward to hearing what my brother and my friend Gene Stinnett is going to share with us. And Gene, let me welcome you.
Absolutely,
God
brother.
bless you.
Bless
Glad
you.
to have you with us. And we go back a spell. We were trying to add up all the decades. And it was Amarillo where we met, and then y'all ended up moving, as we did, to San Antonio. And just talk to me a little bit about where you entered this life. You know, where did you start?
August 5th, 1938, I discovered America in Childress, Texas.
Yeah.
Little farm and ranching community in Childress called Tell. It's halfway between Amarillo and Wichita Falls.
Wow.
If you know where that is.
Generally, yes, sir.
And Ronnie Crabtree knows where it is because he was in Childress at the same time. I never met him.
So y'all didn't know each other.
Did not know each other, even in Amarillo. I only met him when we moved here.
How about that?
But then I grew up there in this ranching farming community. My two older brothers and sisters were practically grown by the time I come along. I have no knowledge of them, don't remember them even being at home. But my father was killed in a car wreck when I was 3.
Oh my goodness.
And
now what, that would have been back in before 1940?
41.
It was 41 when he was killed in a car wreck.
I was born in August and he was killed just before Christmas in December.
Oh my goodness. Now was he killed on a road close to where y'all lived?
Well, it was in Vernon.
Okay.
Him and a couple of guys had gone off and missed a curve. And the other 2 guys were not hurt, but he evidently went through the windshield.
Oh my goodness.
And,
so you grew up basically without your biological father.
Right.
Did your mother remarry?
No, she never remarried. My 2 brothers and 2 sisters really were very influential in my life growing up. You know, they were close to home. You know, they come home even though they'd gone off to college and got married, and one of them went off to World War II. You know, but they were very influential in my life. But my mother took me to church twice on Sunday and once on Wednesday night. Sunday school and preaching Sunday morning, Baptist Training Union and preaching Sunday night, and every Wednesday night.
Wow. Wow.
And my memories of her was at the breakfast table, her reading the Bible to me and praying for me.
Wow.
From my earliest recollection until I guess I graduated from high school.
Really?
And that was our focal point, was the church. The community was fairly small. We had a Southside Baptist church, a Methodist church, and a Church of Christ. And that's where I grew up. Vacation Bible School was very important part of my life.
Yeah.
Working on a farm.
Yeah, and I was asking that. How did, with your dad gone, how did your mother make a living for?
We had a small mom and pop type grocery store. And my sister and brother-in-law ran the grocery store there at home for a number of years until it got to the point that they could sell it, and then she survived on welfare, Social Security.
Declare.
Very small amount, probably less than $100 a month. But we made it.
You made it. I mean,
And
you were there. You were now. Were you? Am I getting? Were you the youngest?
Yes.
You're the baby of the family.
I was the baby. My two brothers and two sisters were practically grown before I ever come along.
Oh goodness! Wow. And y'all had enough. The Lord honoring her prayers and her faithfulness. And
at her funeral, the preacher made the announcement during the service. He said that he asked my mother, says, "How in the world did you do it?" Said, "There you had a baby, your 4 kids were grown and gone from home," and he said that she told him that she told God, "You put me in this position, now you're going to have to take care of me."
wow.
And she and the Lord did. In
He was
spite of
faithful. Isn't that
having
something?
to keep up with me. And
Well, listen, now that's
and
amazing.
all.
You talk
Absolutely.
well, and the heritage of that, Gene, the heritage of
Yes.
that you grew up hearing your mother pray for you specifically,
Yes.
and morning after morning, and breakfast after breakfast.
And I believe that those sound waves are still out there.
I do too. Yeah.
This Webb space adapter that's out there, it's not going to find the Big Bang because there was no Big Bang, but I think it might be able to get those sound waves or my mother's prayers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I believe there's a truth in the statement that prayers never die. Prayers
Absolutely.
never die.
Absolutely.
And when it's a prayer aimed at a specific situation, specific result, that may be taken care of, and but when parents or grandparents are praying for their children and for their offspring's offspring, those are prayers that just keep going. They don't have an end point in them. So I agree with you. I agree with
8
you.
great grandkids I have, and I pray for them.
Great grandkids.
Great grandkids.
Okay, now so we did you go do all of your schooling there in the community where y'all were?
I rode the school bus to Childress for high school.
How far was that?
That was about 16 miles.
16 miles on the school bus,
On the
AM
school
and
bus.
PM. Yeah.
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 But before that, at an early age, I was driving, and when I was a junior in the Sunday school department, I went to stay with my brother a few weeks, who was working on the farm for his father-in-law. They gathered up 2 or 3 of us boys, went to First Baptist Church there in Sundown, Texas.
Sundown.
Where this was. Took us to a Baptist boys camp in Florida, Texas. And that's where it dawned on me that I needed to make public what I believed. So I did. Came back home to the Southside Baptist Church at Tell. Preacher told me to come down on the altar call, and so I did. He quizzed me, right in front of everybody.
What did he ask you? What did he want to know?
Well, he wanted to know what I believed and did I, in my salvation. And the best I remember, this is a long time ago, and believed that if I died, I was going to heaven, and that I believed in Jesus Christ as my Savior. Which I already did. I believed all of that, but I was just making it public. And then that night I was baptized.
Yeah.
Got a brand new baptistry, just been installed. Great big old corrugated horse trough, big enough that you steps in it that you stood up in and baptized you. Wasn't a small one.
That's great.
But that's that's my.
Well, you remember that. You remember that
yes.
clearly,
Oh,
vividly.
yeah.
Go back to that moment in time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so out of high school, then what did you do?
Then went out of high school. I went to Lubbock, Texas Tech.
Are you a Red Raider?
For a year.
For a year. All right. All right.
Did not make the grades that I wanted to make, and got a job with Southwestern Bell Telephone
In Lubbock.
in Lubbock.
All right. So you, after your freshman year, you got employed with Southwestern Bell.
Right. And I had several jobs with them, lineman, residential installer, PBX installer, and then I got a promotion to management. 2 years later, they gave me another promotion, second level, and sent me to Amarillo, Texas. And I think we visited one church, and then somebody had told my wife, you know, about San Jacinto Baptist, and we went there, and we met some people there that we knew that's where we needed to be. And I've got some really fond memories of San Jacinto Baptist Church. I can't remember the man's name. We had to go through, we didn't have to, we went through a membership class. Not, I think that's what it was called, 3 times. This guy was a businessman, might have been a paving contractor.
Mark Fuller.
Mark,
How about that?
I'll tell you what, after that, I knew we was in the right place. And that was 3 Sundays, you know, and that was it.
And Mark was leading that each week.
Yes,
Yeah.
he led that each week, even though we'd heard you preach 2 or 3 times. And Mark was such a influence in my life, and
That's
you know,
great.
and all. And then we met another man there that was a big influence also. His name was Billy Hobbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's where you started to get to know Billy, right? And then when y'all moved down here and we were in San Antonio, Billy came with us as a part of
I
that.
really didn't get to know Billy all that well until we got here.
Yeah.
But my son become acquainted with him, and he was a real influence in my son Gary's life. And
Well, for those who are listening in on this and may not know the history of this name, Billy Hobbs, he was one of the most famous Texas Aggie football players that I'd ever come across, and I didn't really know anything about Texas Aggie football until we really got up into Amarillo, and Billy showed up, and he was named the most valuable player in the Cotton Bowl.
yes,
When the Aggies beat Bear Bryant
Beat Bear,
in
that's
the Cotton Bowl, and he went on into the NFL and some other things, and he hailed from Amarillo and was just kind of a celebrity there, and when he left the NFL and went to Dallas and then was back in Amarillo for a while, he some way or another heard about us, heard what was going on almost at San Jacinto, and showed up one day, you know, wanted to talk, wanted to meet me, and we visited, and I ended up, Gene, taking him in there to the baptistry, and it was just me and him on a Tuesday afternoon or something. He said, I want somebody to baptize me who believes in this, they put in the Lordship of Jesus Christ.
yes.
And he said, I think you believe that. And I said, well, I do believe it. And he said, well, would you baptize me? So anyway, that's kind of how our connection there in Amarillo happened, and you were there in the mix of those kind of things back in those days. So yeah.
But later on down the line, once we moved to San Antonio, my son come over with his girlfriend one night. Dad, we want to get married. Well, he's already grown out of the home, you know. And so he got our blessings on that, and he said, I want Billy Hobbs to marry us.
You go. Want Billy to marry us.
I said, I don't know if he asked me if I thought Billy would, or if he told me he was going to try to get Billy. But anyway, I said, give him a call. And then Billy caught me in the hallway over here at the old mall over here and told me about it. And I went to counsel with him, said, I'm not going to marry them if they're not Christian. And then the next Sunday he told me,
yeah,
they are, and I'm going to perform
that's
I'm
great.
going to perform the ceremony.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
Now, were you, when y'all moved here, when you moved to San Antonio, were you still with Southwestern Bell?
Yes.
Okay.
The 4 years that I was in Amarillo, in 1984, January 1984 was the divestiture of the Bell system. You remember that? Bell had to break off, or AT&T had to break off from the Bell system, which was extremely difficult for those that had to implement that, downsizing and getting rid of people and all of that. And then shortly,
You were in management still at that point?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, I was in management. Decisions were made, corporate office, and it filtered down to the bottom management people to have to implement.
Right.
It was very, very difficult time. And during that time, you announced that you was coming to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh, well, back up a minute. I can remember at San Jacinto, your wife holding up Abby to show us the congregation.
Yeah.
And then just a very short time later, Abby was leading the praise service over here at the.
Seemed like a short period of time.
It
That
was
was
a
few
short
years
period of
in
time
between
because
there.
when I first saw her up there, I thought it was Shirley.
Yeah, well, how about that?
And then I thought, there's Shirley sitting over there. That must be Abby. But,
well, yeah, the background of some of that is when I had felt like that the Lord was leading us to come to San Antonio and the church here, and I told the church that, you may have been there that night. Shirley gets up after I finish my little deal. She gets up and in the microphone she says, well, David, we're just really glad that the Lord's led you to San Antonio. We're all going to be praying for you as you go. As if, she and Abby were going to stay up there in Amarillo, and I was going to come there by myself.
I remember that. We're going to miss you, David.
Yeah, we're going to miss you. Goodness. Well,
but then I left there.
Yeah.
I was transferred to Fort Worth and was there just about a year, and then was transferred then to San Antonio. So then I retired from them.
Yeah.
Been
here ever since. Didn't want to go back to the farm.
No.
Yeah.
I wanted away from there.
Yeah. What have been some of the better memories that have lingered in your mind with regard to your professional career? I mean, you met a number of different people, had to over the years, different assignments that were given to you. What was fulfilling to you in the doing of that?
The progression of the Bell system, the advances in all that were made. If somebody wanted to apply themselves, they could go somewhere. And
being a part of the Bell system,
yes.
they could a future for them.
Yes, and so much went on by the time I was a lineman till I retired that I was flabbergasted at some of the advancements and all that had been made. And in 1956, I believe, is when Bell Labs, a couple of men at Bell Labs invented the transistor. Wow. And then shortly after that, the integrated circuit. And that's at the divestiture then of the system. If all of that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have those cell phones. We wouldn't have live streaming. So that was some of the
significant, life-changing, world-shaking kinds of things.
And then moving around and all, I got to meet a lot of good people, especially the churches that I belong to.
Now, you know, Gene, that's really something that your mother's influence had to have been a big factor in your life in having a positive attitude toward church. You know, I mean, for you to
Well,
be there without having a vote in it, you know, Sunday AM, PM, Wednesday night, vacation Bible school,
right.
you know, camps and so forth. Not everybody has come up through that kind of influence, and it resulting in a positive way in their lives. They want to back away.
You just don't know what that will do to you, to have the influence of not sending you, but taking you.
Taking you, yeah.
If she'd have sent me, I'd have probably run off. But I couldn't run off if she took me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
well, I pray that there's a return to some of those days again, where families are coming together. We see that a good bit here. But you know, the kids' lives are so much more incredibly busy, I think, than they used to be. Now, we would have sports and we would have, you know, different things that we do, but with all of the phones and all of the iPads and all the things on television that can be done, it can be just a real challenge, I think, for a child's life to remain simple. And how do you do that? And that's a real challenge for parents wanting their children to be exposed to what's right and be affected by what's right and good. What would you say? Now, you have greats now, great grands now, and I know you're not in on all the daily, every decision that's been made in their lives, but what do you try to encourage your children to encourage in the lives of their children, you know?
Let them know how you feel. Let them hear you read the Bible. Let them hear you pray.
Let them hear you. You repeated that each time. Let them hear you.
Let them hear
not
you.
Not somebody
pray.
else, but you pray. You read the Bible.
You don't have to pray a whole lot. When I say a whole lot, I mean you don't have to have a long prayer.
Yeah.
You know, you can kind of know ahead of time what you want to say, but let them hear that. Let them hear you pray. Let them hear how you feel. Let them hear how you read, how you think. And you'd be surprised what that's going to do to them now, but even more later on down the road.
Yeah, yeah. I believe you're right about that.
If you want to have an influence on your kids, and I look back now, I wish I had rewind, because I would do a lot more of that than what I do, than what I did.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah. Well, and if it is true that prayers never die, especially the ones that are addressed to our offspring, and the offspring, our immediate offspring, are going to have a next generation of offspring, and it keeps going until it's finally all over with, and everybody who's going to be born and has a chance to receive Jesus, that has happened, and we're gathered in the presence of the Lord.
Yes.
But between here and there, to be praying, Lord, bring your kingdom to those hearts, cause your will to be done in those hearts. May they know the power of your presence and your spirit.
Impress upon them to look to you for spiritual guidance.
Yeah.
That's my prayer for them.
Now, you had to have had the sense that your mother, you knew that you didn't have a father in the home, and that there were other things that that you didn't have, what maybe other families would have, but there had to have been something that was conveyed to you by her example of trust in the Lord, that you knew that she was trusting something she couldn't see, you couldn't hold. Is that true?
Well, yeah, absolutely, and also, I did have a big influence from my two sisters and my two brothers.
Yeah.
They were all believers and churchgoers, and wherever they were, and all, and that could very well keep me in line.
Well, that's great.
Growing up, even though there probably come a time in my life that my mother couldn't give me a whipping if she wanted to, type thing. But,
Yeah, yeah.
but there again, there was the respect and
Yeah.
also,
Yeah. Well, you have been just a real joy to Shirley and me, and every Sunday when we have a chance to connect, I see that white hair, and I know Gene's in the house.
That's right.
There's a great smile. There's always a great
absolutely.
positive attitude that the Lord can do anything He chooses to do. I get that from you, Gene, and that radiates out from you. There's some folks that will leave multiplied millions of dollars to influence various things and that they're wanting to support. But I do not know that there's anything any more powerful that can be conveyed than a heart that has joy in it, a heart that has a trust in the Lord. You have seen enough things over the years to know that if your trust isn't in the Lord, there can come disappointments that will hit you deep and last a long time from any direction at any time.
I couldn't have made it this far without it.
Yeah.
I couldn't have made it this far without the trust in the answer of my prayers.
Yeah. Seeing those things that we've cried out to the Lord for, expressed to Him, seeing those things being done in hearts. I really appreciate you making time to talk to us today and share the
always
things
visit with you.
Well, that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel. Folks, I hope this has encouraged you. I hope this is leaving something, depositing something of great importance in your heart, especially as parents and grandparents, that we would be ones who would do just as Gene has said, that our children would hear us praying for them, would hear us reading the Scripture. Well, you can't have every meeting when they come to see the grandparents and turn that into a Sunday school class. That's not what we're talking about. But there can be appropriate times. There can be specific times when the Lord would give us a Scripture to share or give us a prayer to pray, and it can make a difference. It can have a long-term impact in the lives of ones who will touch a generation that we will never see. And that's our dream, that's our prayer, Lord. Let us be used to encourage some things in the hearts of these who will live far past us, that will enable them to be an encouragement in their generation of the things that matter most to you. Thank you for joining us. God bless you, and we will see you next time on There Is More. God bless you.